Luka Nation. Continuing on with what's been a really fun week of guests. We had Gary on, then we followed it up with Mr. Peter Steinberg from SGC, then Eric Shemtoff from Whatnot, and Skyler. You guys know this man. So just a week of hustlers, a week of people that are building the hobby. And this gentleman, we had the good fortune of meeting at National 2021. We were with our dear friend, Mr. Rob Go. Skyler comes up. He's, rocking the shirt. He's got like 14 sponsors on it. Great
look like
vibes.
a NASCAR.
Like a NASCAR. Huge smile. A kid who you could tell he was having the time of his life there, willing to meet people, wanting to meet people. And we talked for maybe 5-6 minutes. I think we took a picture all together. And that was that. And then since that day, we followed Skyler. You guys might know him as To The Moon Collectibles. I followed him on Instagram. And honestly, I don't know if there's a harder working guy in the hobby. Now, I know that's a big claim, but I see him doing so many things. And so he's, never complaining, always adding value, always reaching out, always supportive, always positive. So it took a little while to get this kind of show scheduled. But truthfully, Scott, I'm excited to get to know you, kind of the man behind the business, how you got here. From the little bit we had to, chop it up.
You know what this episode we have here? You know what we're able to do? You know what we're doing today? We're talking to the moon. I hope I don't get copyright for that, but I wanted to use it.
You will. You will.
I hope I don't. Yeah, this is 2 seconds. I think I'm okay. But you forgot the best part. The best part when we met this dude was he had no clue who Rob was. He had no clue. He figured it out. He had no clue who we were. And he was trying to give us tips. He was trying to help us. Hey, here's what's going on at the show. Here's this. Go to this booth. Go to these guys if you want to do this. By the way, here's this sponsor I have. And, they'll work with you on this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. They'll work with you on these things. And if you want to work with these guys, I could put in a good word for you. It wasn't just hustle. It was hustle and optimism, positivity. It was this whole crazy, I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter who anyone is. I want to see people succeed. So here's what's working for me, and go ahead, take advantage of it. I'll let it work for you too. It was really a very refreshing interaction with this dude, right?
Agreed. 1,000%. Sky, how old are you? Just out of curiosity.
I'm 24 or 25 now. You guys met me when I was 24.
25 now. And so we'll get into your origin story. People laugh when I ask that, but what's happened since National up until this point, 9 months? What's been kind of top of mind? What's been going on in the business world?
The best way to describe the last year and a half has been a movie. I say movie a lot. We're making a movie. I wish I could have documented every piece from the minute I started this to the minute now, because it's a completely different hobby. I'm a completely different person. My role is completely different, I believe now. It's crazy, man. I started this, in January of 2021, when the height of the hobby, as they call it, and here we are now. And I almost feel like I'm back in January 2021 and with that excitement and energy that with my new merger.
What is this? So for people that don't know, I'm sure they've seen your face, they've seen your brand, but what is this for people that don't know?
Well, really quick, guys, I'm To The Moon Collectibles, Skyler. That was my Instagram page, and I started on Instagram, and I just kind of grew this into something really exciting. And now I am the online sales director for DSS Enterprise, which is a $25 million company that consists of over 10 different enterprises or different entities of the business. And I'm here.
So coins, cards.
Yeah, we have our big businesses are the DSS Coins and Bullion, which I'm actually going to be starting to do more with that very soon. As soon as today on Whatnot, we're doing our debut show on there.
You're selling gold coins and gold on Whatnot.
I'm selling gold. I'm selling silver. I'm selling bullion. I'm selling everything. If you guys want to see that, make sure you follow TMC Sports and enjoy the movie, as I say.
I need a 2022 American Eagle 1/10 ounce gold. It's got to be dated 2022.
Hollister is better than American Eagle
because American Eagle. That's the coin, man. I need a 10th ounce. It's small, but I get one for my son every year for his birthday.
If you need any stuff like that, the best thing for you guys to do is DM me, and I guarantee you we can get it. We have some of the best gold and silver distributors in the business. They've been in the coin and bullion industry for about 22 years now. So that's one of our top businesses on the chain. The sports cards is interesting. We had a fire at a pawn shop, and it actually had a fire over the summer of 2021, and this business kind of just emerged here in 2022, and it was like the phoenix from the ashes, if you want to say it like that, because it just opened up a lot of doors. They also have Pretty in Patina, which is like high quality brand name clothing store that's connected to our building as well. They do really well there. They have Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all that stuff, purses, watches, dresses, you name it. They probably got it over there. All name brand stuff. And then Old Pioneer, which is like a Cabela's, a Bass Pro, a Blockbuster. I have never seen this store yet, but I want to go now. It's literally, if you're an outdoorsy or just any type of person that likes that kind of stuff, this is the store for you. It's a little bit of everything, and it's an awesome store as well. But there's a bunch of other different entities as well. That's just some of the few.
Andrew's a fly fisher. He watched the movie River Runs Through It, and he became a fly fisher. The problem is he thought it was a different kind of movie. You know, he was taking a drug test for for a job opportunity. He thought this was going to be like informational of like how to like cleanse the system, get it out, a golden seal.
Sauna and water.
There you go. See, he knows. You got
Scott, you're in Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma's
We're
where
in Nebraska.
you're based out of?
Nebraska. We're actually the shop is located about 5 minutes from where they do the World Series.
This is where Andrew's gonna say, what's the difference? Oklahoma, Nebraska, whatever. It's all in the middle.
Cornhuskers.
Yeah. CWS is about 5 minutes from where we're at. So we're going to be doing some really cool stuff this summer for the World Series, and probably a lot of stuff online as well. So if you guys can't make it to Nebraska for the World Series, you'll get the benefit of getting it online. I mean, what we're really trying to bring here is value to all consumers. One of the things that I've strived for and that I wanted to bring into this business is bringing the ability, if you have $100, if you have $10, if you have $100,000, I want to have something there that you can support us with. Because I think the hardest thing for people is they want to support people, but the prices are just too high. Some people just have their niche, and that's great, but we're trying to bring value to every single consumer.
So are you guys like, well, we'll get into the details later. I mean, obviously you're a natural salesperson, and something that comes to mind is they brought you on to do online sales, right?
Correct.
But online sales has changed. The game has changed, right? It's social selling now, I believe, is Whatnot, network app, Instagram. How were they selling before, and why did they decide to bring you on, even though you had a card background? You might not have known bullion. You might not have known these other industries. Why did they decide to bring you on, if you don't mind sharing?
I think the biggest benefit for me being here is the Whatnot and network experience. I think that's just experience that a lot of people really sleep on, that we've been just taking for granted the last year. It's really hard to run a 5-hour show on Whatnot, and have somebody that knows that technology, especially since it's so new. What we've been doing in the past here is mostly just Facebook. They have Facebook groups. Gold and Silver Seekers is our coins and bullion Facebook group, and it does really well. I think it did a couple million in sales last year alone. But we're hoping to be able to scale that into the live selling platform, because that's just the future, and hopefully those numbers double or triple this year.
Cage knows I've been a big fan of gold, and gold in an inflationary economy. I mean, inflation, what was 7% a few months ago, 7.5%. Now some metrics are 8% and even higher. I mean, gold bullion sales, I imagine, are killing it.
Oh, absolutely. And the prices on that stuff changes weekly. And the nice thing for us is we have the ability to get it on the fly. So if we see that trend maybe trending up, maybe we'll go heavier on silver this week or heavier on gold. And we built clients all over the world, and they call us and we get it to them. And I'm very happy. That was one of the things that definitely made me excited about working here,
Okay, feel free to jump in, but like, we've been trying to get this done for a while, and you're a card guy. but here you are. Our audience is card people. Are you, are you saying, hey, if you're a card person and you're not seeing returns, take a look at gold in our channel? What's kind of your ask of the people listening to, 2,000-3,000 people listening to our show every day? What's the ask of them?
Oh, is this for Cage, right?
No, it's for you.
No,
think about it, right?
Oh, I personally, I'm starting to invest in silver. I mean, I think there's a great opportunity for, I mean, especially the people that like
So let's go with
long-term
that,
hold.
right? Go with your investment in silver. You like
Yeah.
silver, so long-term holds, right? So, I mean, one of the things with the hobby, right, where, people are like, oh, the hobby, let's call it the industry, the hobby, let's argue between investors and collectors, right? A lot of people who came in, there's a lot of charts, there's a lot of like rate of return, there's a lot of like, return on investment, there's a lot of, all this other fun stuff, which, makes it, let's compare the hobby to stocks, let's compare the hobby to other types of investments, right? But what do you say to somebody who says, what's the fun?
What's the fun investing in gold versus cards is what Cage was going to say.
And this is one of the other things that, we've been talking about a lot with moving into our gold and silver shows. Selling gold, silver coins, it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but how do you make it sexy? How do you make it fun? And that's one of the reasons we really like Whatnot, is with the auction and the sudden death aspect is you can make it fun. We start with one coin and we can juice another coin. We can juice another coin, get it up, juice another coin, and that's how we can make this fun and sexy. I think that for any person, I think a lot of people who have talked about this that have been in this game for a while, don't have all your eggs in one basket. There's so many different ways to invest your money right now. And there's a lot of good ways to invest your money right now. You just have to look at those opportunities and do your homework and find out what's best fit for you. But
I got the title, Andrew.
Go ahead.
Skylar
What's the
says
title?
diversification is sexy.
Diversification is
title.
sexy.
So is that the ask? Is that like because you got why we've been able to have success on our show, Sky, is every time we jump on the episode, it's not I want to hear myself talk or Cage's beautiful silky voice. It's how does the person, the woman, the man, the kid listen to the show benefit, whether that's with a joke or a tidbit of, hey, you look at this card, or this is a piece of alpha information that you could is the alpha or the information here that cards there's been a lot of supply, there's been a lot of graded cards. Take a look at gold coins where this all started. Take a look at silver and gold. Are you still buying cards for yourself?
Absolutely. I will say this too. A $25 million company took a lot of their assets and made a card shop, DSS Sports Cards. That says a lot to me about our industry and the direction that it's going. They didn't have to open a card store. They chose to open a card store. And I think there's a lot of value in that to me, as a card collector, especially as well. But I personally believe, I think gold and silver is definitely something that is very slept on right now in the online scene, especially the live selling scene. And I think it's only going to grow. And that's why we're trying to get our shows up and running to show people why this is fun, why this is sexy, and maybe build some new collectors out of it as well.
I told Cage, man, a lot of where this started, I'm 32. My dad is 57, had me at 25 years old. His friends were gold coin collectors, right? They collected Rolexes and coins, and all this stuff cycles. When I told them about cards, they didn't really want to get into it, but coins and the grading and authentication of coins, it was really interesting to that generation. Do you guys, with like gold bullion, do you store it, right? Because it's heavy. Like if I buy a lot of gold, that's not that easy to ship. I could ship you a card. I can't really ship you an ounce of gold. That's extremely expensive. Do you guys store it for people as well?
I don't think we have a vault at the moment, but we might. We don't store, I don't believe, but we do have.
Gold's expensive, man.
Yes,
well, an ounce of gold is. You can ship an ounce of gold. You know what I mean? Like
it's $2,000.
Yeah, We have currently,
you
I
could ship
believe we
that
have
for an ounce.
60 to 100 ounces at all times available to us for shipping and stuff, but we don't store for other people. But we've shipped literally everything and anything you can think of. I mean, if somebody wants it, we'll find a way to get it to them.
All right. Well, okay. We're 15 minutes in here, brother. So talk to me about cards. What do you guys do with or it's still a card hobby? You know, is it? Talk to me about what you guys do with cards.
Well, we started DSS Sports Cards. This is the store. We're located next to the coin shop here in Nebraska. And right now, it's just been crazy with, just buying and the selling aspect of in shop and online. We sell on Whatnot and Network. My Whatnot is TMC Sports, and then my network is To the Moon Collectibles. And we break on Network. We actually just became the #1 sports cards
I saw
page
that.
for April, which was really cool. And then on our Whatnot, we do singles. Abraham, one of my employees, is on there right now. He's doing Abraham in the morning, as we call it. It's like a singles
like
and
that.
slab show every morning. And my buddy Jake, he runs the store in the front. His job is mainly to do the ordering and the buy anything that comes into the store, or do the trading. And we're going to be going to Dallas. We're going to be going to Kansas City, but we want to continue to grow this sports card thing and see where it goes. I mean, we picked up a 2009, 2010 Topps box here recently. A lot of the stuff we're doing here too is acquiring assets, long-term.
DSS Coin and Bullion, Omaha, Nebraska, near Warren Buffett.
Yes.
So if you guys are passing through Cornhusker Town, stop by Omaha, go see our boy Skyler, Abraham in the morning. I like that. And then go see Warren Buffett. That's kind of the ask. If you're in the area, come stop by, see what we've built.
Yeah, we've done a few trade nights.
And send me some steaks.
We just did a trade night the other day, and we had the biggest turnout we could ever expect. It was raining, and we didn't think anyone was going to show up. We had people travel 3 to 4 hours to come here. The communities, the whole sports card community in general has been really supportive of our growth, and we're very grateful for that and very excited to see where things go. I mean, month 1, we grew probably 10 times more than we ever expected to. So moving forward, it's going to be really interesting to see where this business takes me, and the whole company in general. But yeah, sports cards. This is our new merch, by the way, our new hoodies. You guys were talking about my sponsors as well. That's funny. Shout out to all those guys that supported me. I did tournament basketball.
I can't even name all of them because you can't. There was like 35 on that shirt.
I did tournament bass fishing, and then I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a couple of years, or for basically my whole life. But sponsors were like a huge thing in those two industries, and I wanted to bring that to sports cards. You don't really see. You see it on YouTube, but you don't really see anyone repping that at a card show. Like, if you like a brand, what's stopping you from putting them on your shirt, And that's what I came up with, and it seemed like all of them were really happy with what we did.
I like it.
Well, listen,
you're an interesting guy. I kind of be honest with you. I like getting to know you a little bit here.
You're in the hobby, right? You did, you did all kinds of different stuff. You did Yu-Gi-Oh. You did, you obviously you're at the National, so cards were heavy. Was there sort of like a watershed event? Was there a moment? Was there something that happened where you were like, all right, you know what? I see the writing on the wall with the hobby. I see cards doing this, this, and this. And, I want to diversify. I think there's more fun in other things. Or it's just kind of, cards are cool and everything great. But you know what? I think there's fun to be had. There's money to be made in other things. Talk to me about that. And it might not have been just like, oh, wow, there's this light bulb turning on moment. But, talk to me how we got from there to here.
Between November and February, especially, we definitely saw a huge change in the market. And me running on a really small bankroll, I was coming to the realization that this was more of a quantity game now rather than buying a collection and flipping it. The collections were getting slimmer, the margins were getting slimmer, and I think now, at least the way we're running our business, is it's all about quantity right now. We would rather sell you a product at the lowest price we can and sell 100 of them than sell one and, make the same amount of margin. But and wait a while, I mean, I think quantity is huge right now. And I wasn't able to put all that money in and get that quantity. So I knew I needed to do something. I looked at a lot of different opportunities. There's so many jobs out there right now. I mean, if you guys just type in sports cards on LinkedIn or any of that stuff, hundreds of jobs pop up, whether it's grading, whether it's marketing this. And a lot of these are little to no experience, which is even crazier. They just are looking for someone with knowledge because there's not many people that have the knowledge of the industry, that want to work in the industry right now. I think there's a lot of opportunities out there. And just moving into this transition for me was I wanted something stable. I wanted something where I could learn new things. I mean, before last year, I never watched sports. I never held a sports card besides looking at my dad's collection. So moving into other entities of the business, it excites me, and I wanted to get excited again. I was excited doing what I was doing. I wasn't seeing the growth. I felt like I was at a standstill and I wanted to grow even more. So I needed help with that. Building a team was a huge part of that.
So is that the, so here's how I see it. If we just take it back 2.5 years, a lot of people came into the hobby and they saw that they could buy card for $50 and sell it for 150 and do that quite a few times. And they would be making 50, 60, 70, over $100,000 a year, right? So they're like,
Right.
Why would I work if I could do that? And you saw unemployment numbers. There's like 11 million jobs available right now because now everyone wants to go and be their own boss and entrepreneur. Well, that was great. But once more and more people came in, PSA closed down, that flip was no longer available. And it, like you said, it squeezed the margins. Some people moved to NFTs to make money. But other people like you, Skylar, are like, I love this space. I love social selling. I love cards. How can I do this more actively? How can I do it more consistently? How do I not have the peaks and valleys of having to buy and flip? What advice do you have for someone else in that position, right? There's a lot of 23-year-olds, 27-year-olds just graduated college. They maybe got a job and they're like, I hate this. What advice would you have for those people?
Just talk to people, man. And this goes back to the biggest thing that I was told when I started this is going to shows is the best investment of your life. You see guys traveling every weekend to a show to buy, sell, flip. Why can't you go to a show, buy, sell, flip, do what you're doing? But then on top of that, take maybe an hour or two out of your day to go network with people and learn more about their business and see if it's something you're interested in. There's a lot of businesses out there. I mean, you can do a little bit of everything in this industry, which is awesome. And if you have any sort of experience, use that to your advantage to find what you love. I mean, it took me a minute to be like, man, this is what I want to do. I mean, I was going back and forth. I don't know if I really like selling. I don't know if I really like live.
Well, you're
selling.
a natural salesperson. It's obvious. Right. It comes through this. I'm sure other people have told you that.
But I want to sell, but I want to sell stuff that I enjoy, and learn something new in the process, maybe. So that's why this just was a perfect fit. It was just meant to be, I guess, But I hope that all you guys out there, Luka Nation, can find something that makes you happy. I mean, it's not always about the money either. A lot of people look at the dollar signs when it comes to finding a new job or finding a career. Money will come. If you put in the work and you put in the time, money will come. You just have to be looking for something that makes you happy and that you can go to work every day with a smile on your face and go home wishing you were back at work, and you'll never work a day in your life. That's what my advice for all you guys is.
If sales doesn't work,
how do you not want to support this dude?
Inspiration.
Dude, how do you not want to support this guy? You listening to this? Come on now, it's crazy. Like, if you listen to this, like, oh, yeah, okay, I can do it. I'm gonna go find something I have fun doing. I mean, I want to go on Whatnot right now and buy something from you.
We'll be on tonight.
Or Abraham.
Abraham.
So, where can people find you? So you had To the Moon, you have DSS. Where can people find you?
And this is the fun part about this is as for like all the other businesses, the Facebook page is Gold and Silver Seekers. I don't know the other ones, but as for the Me, it's To the Moon Collectibles. I still kept that Instagram. We're still keeping that entity. As you can see, we have a new logo. But DSS Sports Cards is a Facebook page. Sir Cicada Cards, he is my store manager. He does all our buying for the sports cards. We're on Whatnot at TMC Sports. We're on Network at To the Moon Collectibles. We're everywhere, man. I mean, we're on TikTok. I'm almost at 1,000 followers on TikTok. That's been pretty crazy. That's probably one of the hardest platforms to get started. But once you get started, you can grow a lot. Sir Cicada Cards is our YouTube channel right now. So we're everywhere.
I love it. Luka Nation, go follow Skylar. Go support him. He's a good dude. We'll continue with our regularly scheduled programming here, the same way we did with the Gary episode. We'll talk a little bit of NBA. I'm shocked if Cage comes back on. He hasn't touched on his Yankees going on a 10-0 run at all. He bitched about the Yankees in the beginning of the season, hasn't touched on them. So if he comes back, I'm going to be sure to add him in. Skylar, thank you so much. I appreciate
thank you guys for the
us
opportunity.
Thank you, brother. Look who it is. So you bitch about the Yankees, but I just noticed they're on a 10-0 run. Aaron Judge just smashing home runs. Did you see the little fan got his home run ball in Toronto?
Yeah. I put it in my story.
Nothing. Oh, okay.
So they won 11 straight games. They lost yesterday in an attempt for a 12th straight game. Aaron Judge had a 10-game, run there where he had his best offensive 10-game performance with like 7 home runs and 17 RBRs or something like that over a 10-game. But yesterday they could have won. They were down 1. They had bases loaded in the 9th inning, and they couldn't push a runner across, which is kind of shitty. They will suffer from the same exact thing, which is they're taxing their bullpen a little bit more than they should, and their hitters are for the most part home run or nothing. And when that's the case, when you get, which they had, a runner on second base with 1 out in the 9th inning, and you only need a single, but you get guys coming up who are going to strike out or hit a home run. You don't need a home run there. You need a single. And believe it or not, what has actually shown through during that win streak, of course, Judge is great, but it's the bottom of that lineup, that Isaac Kanea Falafel, IKF, the new shortstop, and the light hitting catcher, and Gleyber Torres actually showed up. People thought he was dead. These guys are actually hitting the ball. They're putting the ball in play. They're walking. You mix in some home runs here and there. It's great. Their pitching has been fantastic, though. But I don't know whether or not this staff is not very top. You got Cole and a bunch of the whole together. We'll see what happens over time. But yeah, if you're a New York baseball fan, you got to be pretty happy because the Mets and the Yankees have pretty significant leads in their division, and you got people here thinking Subway Series time. But it's a long season.
Long season. Hunting Luka.
Very.
You want to talk about the NBA? How's your internet,
man.
Cage? It's a little bit glitchy for me.
Yeah, for like the last 2 weeks, it's been this way. I'll apologize to everybody. It doesn't matter where I am. If I'm in the city or if I'm at home, if I'm on my Wi-Fi or I'm wherever it is, it seems that for the last 2 weeks or so, we've had bad internet on our shows. We had it with Gary. He was very good also. So I apologize for the production quality here. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, it doesn't matter where I am. My internet seems to be bad. So that's pretty terrible.
What do you guys say? Luka Nation, give us a vote. Put us in the comments. I think it's time Luka Nation, the business, buys Cage his own production device. Tell us in the comments. Guys, we get enough comments.
Yeah, tell me also if you noticed, did the internet also get spotty when Andrew got his new place in Boca? Is that what I'm trying to say? No matter where my internet is, that it doesn't matter where I am. If I'm on LTE or my home Wi-Fi or whatever it is, for the last 2 weeks, it's been bad. So let's hear it in the comments, guys. Let's hear it in the comments. Comment it up, guys. So Luka,
why would it have anything to do with? Why would it have anything to do with me? Wouldn't my internet? Wouldn't I cut out, Cage?
No, because the StreamYard is run through your end, so I'm being thrown out of it. So my internet is not cutting out. I'm getting an error message from StreamYard saying you've been thrown out of StreamYard. So I don't know what's doing it. But I know no matter where I am, I get thrown out. I get thrown out if I'm home. I get thrown out if I'm on a bus. I get thrown out if I'm in Manhattan. I get thrown out. So for me, I'm trying all kinds of different things. So, but it doesn't matter. I get thrown out, every single different way it is.
Trying
Whatever the
all
internet might
these
be,
types
on
of
Wi-Fi
things.
or not Wi-Fi.
I'm trying. I've
And
tried
it's always
everything.
the same. I sit on the Wi-Fi. I sit on the router. I mean,
I think we need to
it's
go back.
It's very upsetting.
I think we need to go back to the origin days.
Gotta go
when
back to
we used
Mexico?
record on Zoom, where we used to record on Zoom, no video, guys, no faces.
I love that. By the way, we had some Zoom calls and everything was great, and then this gets delayed. When we had Zoom calls and everything was fine on that. We've had a couple business calls. Zoom goes through. When I'm home, I do all my work Zoom calls on this, and everything's fine. But when I get on StreamYard, there's a 5-10 second delay, then it becomes a 20-second delay, and then I get booted off. It only happens on StreamYard. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
So it's on
anyway,
me.
we'll figure it out.
I'll do a little production.
Probably
I'll
not
email
on you.
StreamYard.
Yes. I don't know what it is. I honestly don't. I'm old smart, so I don't know what text. But like I said, it's definitely happened to me now wherever I am. Maybe it's my phone. Who knows? But my phone seems to be okay for every other app. JaVale McGee picked his pocket, and Luka has looked like shit. Bad defense.
That's not
Worst
what Jason
defense in the
Kidd
playoffs.
says.
What does Jason Kidd say?
He says the other Mavs have to come to the party.
Yeah, but
you didn't.
When you're the weakest link, your opponents will find you. They're going to have to, every time Luka is guarding the ball, one of his teammates is going to have to come double and leave somebody open.
Are you still with me?
No. Yeah, I just asked you a question. I said, is every time Luka's on the ball defending, you're going to have somebody else from his team, one of his teammates is going to have to come double the ball? Is that what's going to happen? No?
He's not in shape.
Yeah, I'm still with.
I've said it all year. There's the one clip, Cage, I sent through to our Shill Squad group, and what I've seen, and this is just my own personal opinion, I said after game one, he doesn't get in a guarding position. He's super straight up. And any guard, whether it's Booker, Chris Paul, or anyone else, they just go right around him. And in basketball, if your guards can't keep the players out of the paint, the whole defense has to collapse, and then there's open shooters all over the place. And that happens time and time and time and time again. And one weak link like that destroys your whole defense. So what I'm seeing, and I know this might be a hot take, Luka is trending towards having a James Harden-like career more than a LeBron James type career. Because people don't realize LeBron was a defensive player of the year, one of the best defenders of all time, just an incredible defender. And he committed to defense, especially during his Heat years and his early years. Later on, he defended more with experience. Harden never committed to defense. And what I'm seeing is Luka's out of shape. He can't get into a good guarding position, and his career might trend closer to a James Harden than a LeBron James.
I mean, I'd like to say I disagree with you. I mean, it is a hot. I'd like to disagree, but there was one. I don't know what you sent over, but it wasn't this. There was one instance in yesterday's game. I was the second or third quarter, but his body's flying all over the place, and Luka hit the deck. Right, there were two Dallas guys that hit the floor on their offensive possession, I think actually, and you could see the Suns wound up getting the ball and they pushed it forward into the front court. And Luka was so up. It was like trying to watch me get out of bed, right? Like, oh my back. Oh, and it doesn't look like a world-class athlete, behavior there. It was like, and then of course the Suns scored on the other end because, it was basically 5-on-3 for most of the possession, then became 5-on-4. But yeah, I mean, the defense, the straight up defense, like I'm not an expert in that stuff, but obviously, yeah, you got to get into defensive position, but it could be out of shape. It could be tired. I mean, Luka's done more with less this season, plus he was injured, right? He just came off that injury. He was injured in the first round of the playoffs, so maybe he's not completely back yet, and maybe he came back from the injury and didn't rehab enough and get himself into physical game shape. So I'm sure there's a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, I will say this, if I'm able to like underline, those two teams just look completely different. Like you watch them play, and like Dallas, basically Luka has to have an otherworldly performance just for them to keep it close. And then even if it is close at the end, the Suns just pull away. They have a whole nother gear that Dallas just doesn't have.
Sweep.
I said it coming into it. I think Luka might find a way to win one game. Remember, this is now, a 2-0 series. And it's going to be moving through its first game in Dallas, right? The Suns have had home field advantage. Home court advantage. If you want to say that,
11 wins
right?
in a row versus the Mavs. 11 wins in a row.
Yeah,
versus
you
the
said
Mavs.
that coming in too. Said it. I'll give you all the credit in the world. You said sweep. You said 100%. That there's one where the Suns just own Dallas. You know what I mean? And you definitely nailed that. And
It's tough, Cage.
I just think yeah.
Let's say Luka and Booker or Luka and Chris Paul cancel each other out, right? For best player. Who's the best player in the series?
Yep.
Who would you say? Is it Luka?
Yes, I think Luka's the best player. I don't know whether or not he'd be the first one I took. Let's just not get crazy. Luka, I think, is the best player.
Let's say Luka's the best player in the series. The next best 6 guys are on the Suns, though. 2,
Correct.
3, 4, 5,
Correct.
6, 7. And then the rest are such a distant, 8, 9, and 10. And I think there's a huge debate whether Luka is even the best player in the series, given that he can't defend.
Right. He's the only one in the top 6 on Dallas, the top 7 on Dallas. It's what you're trying to say, and that's right. I mean, the other team is a superior team. Even if he is the best player, even if he was in top form, he's not enough to get past the series. He might run into one game where he shoots, 10 for 12, 10 for 13, 10 for 14 from 3 and just goes lights out. But even that, you probably won't see it because he doesn't have his legs under him, just like you're saying. You know what I mean? He looks out of shape. He looks tired. The end of the game, he kind of falls off. This is one of these guys, right? He has 24 points at halftime, but doesn't ever seem to get to that 50, probably because of exactly what you're saying. Let me ask you a question, because you're a basketball guy.
Go ahead.
I'll ask you this. If you're Jason Kidd, what do you do? Do you say, all right, Luka's clearly not my best defender, Brunson is, or whoever is, Reggie Bullock is, no matter what, when the ball is being brought up court, that guy take the ball, whether it's Booker bringing it up or Paul bringing it up, like you put Luka in a different spot on the defense. Because, if Luka's being exposed, he probably shouldn't be, out there guarding like that. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of hide him. I don't see Trey, always on the ball defending, because the same thing would happen, right? And I'm not saying that's a good sign. I'm not saying that.
But they're hunting them. They're hunting them through screens. They're hunting them through screens.
Yeah.
They're switching. Yeah. I say, if I'm Jason Kidd, I say play free. So this isn't our series. We're a young team. We're still a little bit away. Play free, guys. Just play free. Enjoy this time. Let's try to come together as a team. Maybe there's things that they're not doing that they could be doing. I don't know what their game plan is, but just play free. We're still 1 or 2 seasons away from really contending. We need another guy or two to really, really get where we want to go. Enjoy this. This is experience. It takes time to really build a winning team. Enjoy it and play free.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably good advice, right? You got a young team. You had a young team that's learning, growing, that kind of stuff. Maybe they run into one. Maybe they grab some momentum. Who the heck knows? You're
exactly.
You're 100% right. Especially because I think, it's pretty clear that they're outclassed right now.
That's the best word, right? When you're outclassed, out-talent, outmatched, what are you going to say? Like, the players already know it. You don't want to put extra pressure on them. You want to let them loosen up, and then maybe you have a Boston Celtics type of game where you put up 20 points from 3. You just shoot lights out. There's no defense for shooting 50, 60% from 3. And that only happens when you play free. Let's flip it, and then we'll end it. Tyler Hero, does he ever become cardboard relevant again?
I don't think there are many 6th men of the year who are. So if that's going to be his role forever, the answer is no. And I think what you've seen, and you made a good argument about it, is that that's really a good spot for him. To come in off the bench, heat it up fast, just shoot, doesn't have to facilitate, doesn't have to be the point guard, doesn't have to be passing the ball, is dominant against the other team's second unit, that kind of stuff, right? So if that's going to be his thing, he'll be as relevant as Lou Williams. He'll be as relevant as, Vinnie Johnson, the microwave for the Pistons during their, championship years. Great role player. If, however, he moves into a starting five and becomes that one or two option on a championship team, and he's able to play defense and he's a complete player and he's not a lunatic, sure, he becomes relevant. He's got all the skills to do it. An argument can be made that the reason he was, relegated to this role was that he didn't have the mental fortitude to do anything else, right? When he had a little bit of success, all of a sudden he became an idiot, right? So maybe he's growing from that. Maybe, next year, depending on what they do with the lineup, maybe he's able to grow into a different role. We saw during the bubble, people want to get behind him, right?
I think so too. Last thing, Doc Rivers, how terrible is he as a coach?
I mean, pretty bad with the talent they have, but I'll give Doc a pass this year because I'd like for you to name a coach in the NBA who had more outside shit thrown at them from a team perspective and then, was able to get to the final 8, because I'm just assuming that they're going to get swept, but they get to the final 8, right? And what I mean by that is for the first half of the season, you had the Ben Simmons circus in town, right? And no one asked a question about basketball. No one asked a question. It's exactly the same argument I made for Embiid, being the MVP, at least for the first half of the season, was because he was doing all he was doing. He was carrying that team without Ben, but not just not playing, but just taking away from the team, taking away from like the chemistry, making it a clown show. Then Doc had to build in, Harden and figure out how to make that work, right? And now he's dealing with, he's got an Embiid injury and managing, like, when can I bring him back? How do I do that? There was a little bit of chemistry in the last series, and now he's out, and what do I do? I will tell you this. The one thing I worry the most about with Doc Rivers, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this, is Embiid is who Embiid is, right? We've seen for the last 2 years, this is probably the ceiling to get with Embiid. He's fantastic. Great player on the inside, good pick and roll teammate. Harden is who Harden is. I think with a different team, maybe a better coach, maybe somebody who develops their players and more of a system, a culture, the right kind of thing, Tyrese Maxey could develop into something more. And I worry under Doc Rivers and in that franchise, what's going to happen to him. And, I've seen posts because these are the young playoff heroes, right? It was Desmond Bane in the beginning, but I actually said when we were watching him, I think he got hurt, and he definitely did. He hurt his back.
Bane did?
But yeah. He was out for a lot of this last game. And, they brought him back in, and you could see he was a little hobbled.
Did he fall?
I think in game 1.
Fell on his back.
No, I think in game 1. And I said Bane looks off. I was texting in our group. I said Bane looks off. I think he hurt his back. And yeah, he was out for most of the first quarter. And they were using him more sporadically in game 2. And they said he's got back soreness. But Bane is an aside. Jordan Poole and Maxey have been compared, countless times now because they are the young stars in the playoffs, you name it. And if I were asked where I would put my money on which one of them, I put it on Poole. And at least half of the reason for that has nothing to do with their talent level on court. They could be even talent level on court. But Poole is in the Warriors franchise, right? He's got Steve Kerr coaching him. He's got that franchise around him. He's got Steph Curry. He's got Draymond Green. He's taken the leaps and bounds that he has because he's been able to kind of study under that tutelage and will continue to grow under those guys. Whereas, and I think if you switch them, it's almost like trading places, right? It's like, feeling good, Billy Ray. It's like, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, right? Like, I think if you switch them, Maxey would be a stud out in Golden State. So, it's Doc Rivers. It's, so I think that's probably where you were going.
I think when you're down to the final 8 teams, you see which teams have a identity and have an offense and how like the Sixers offense looks like a joke. It's not the results. Forget that they win or lose or get swept. Their offense lacks any creativity. It's basically the same thing. It's a dribble handoff, a pass to Tobias in the post and a shot. Or Embiid. It lacks any creativity. You watch the Warriors play. You watch the Suns play. Like that is how you play basketball, right? Even you watch the Grizz, you might not say that they have the best offensive scheme, but they know who they are. They relentlessly attack the paint, right?
Yep.
Let's watch the Sixers.
Yeah, they don't have it. So the other two games, just to touch on them really quick. One, the Grizzlies, Golden State Warriors. I don't have any cards of Clay left. I don't have any cards of Steph. I don't have any cards of Ja. So this is not from a card perspective. I'm not a homer in either way. I think it's fair to give Steph and Clay some blame for what happened down the stretch, especially Clay. He had a real off game, missing free throws the other night, and that didn't come back to bite him. But, Steph missed some stuff. With 2 minutes left, Steph was putting them up. But what you saw there was, you can make an argument. It was almost like a coming out party. Ja's been great all year, right? But there was another level to him at the end of game 2, right? It was, I think they were down 99-93. And it was just like, all right, Ja, I'm taking the ball. I'm taking the ball. They can't stop me. I'm taking the ball inside. I'm taking the ball. I'm going to do a floater. I'm taking the ball. I'm a little jump shot. I'm taking the ball, and I'm just going to take it to the hole. And I'm not going to deny it. He put Poole. That was ugly. But I don't even care about the move, right? That's great. It makes for a great highlight and it makes for great stuff. It isn't even that they won, which is great. They won, right? The Warriors could have pulled that game out because I still think the Warriors are a significantly better team than the Grizzlies are. It was just that the thing with Ja was always, all right, well, what are you going to do, right? We grilled LeBron, right, for last minute passing the ball, right? We would love to see LeBron at the last minute, drive and finish, right? Ja's showing you, all right, this is what I'm made of, right? Like I know I got my team. I know I can open up. And those guys can make shots for me. But, when the game's on the line, I want it. Some people shrink from it. Some people run towards it. And he's right now running towards it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm changing my mind about Ja, right? Because I will bet you guys that for the last 2 days, Golden State has been working on how do you close off the middle? How do you stop Ja? How do you double Ja? What do you bring down so that he's going to kick it out to somebody else and let somebody else beat you instead of literally giving him the whole lane? That's where we'll learn. Does he work on the ability to have a pull-up? Does he not end his dribble? Does he run off to the side? Does he dribble off the lane, get out, a little bit to the paint and throw up a jump shot? You know what I mean? He probably does not have that in his game now, right? But this is going to be a huge learning experience for him because I think the Warriors, if any team, they'll figure out a way to force him out of those layups, right? And rely on his teammates. If next year, if in the offseason he works on a jumper and they don't know that he's just going to put his head down like a bull and try to get to the rim, right? Is what I'm saying make a little sense?
1,000%. I'm going to go X's and O's on it because like if you have two armies fighting each other, right? And one army has weapons that the other army can't defend against, the first army is going to win. So with the Timberwolves, right, you had a good on-ball defender with Patrick Beverley, and then you had length in the lane. You have Jared Vanderbilt, you had Cat, and you had what's the other guy's name?
Naz Reid.
I can't remember. Naz Reid. You had length. You're gonna have that if the Suns go through and the Grizzlies go through. You're gonna have that same thing. You have Crowder on the ball, and then you have Mikal Bridges helping, and Ayton. You have length, JaVale McGee. So now he has those floaters. You have to put it up higher, right? It's way more difficult. The Warriors have no length, and they don't really have great on-ball defenders either. Draymond's a great defender, but he's not long. So I love that. I love the X's and O's. I love the chess match. That you're absolutely right. Kerr has to say, wait a second, we can't let him into the lane. Who does he put it on onto Ja to not let that happen? And how do the Grizzlies then counter that counter? I love that chess match. You're 100% right.
We'll see what happens.
I think they put Clay on Ja.
I mean, maybe. They may have to make Damian Lee play a little more defense. He's a little bit more shifty. Who knows? You just don't want to lose the offense. Because right now, yeah, I mean, right now, I didn't know that. Right now, the recipe
You know, I
of
used to
success
tutor those
for
guys.
the
Coach?
Warriors is
That's probably what.
no.
You know, I used
That's
to tutor
cool.
those guys in like math 101, like arithmetic and that basic stuff. Yeah, the Drexel basketball team. Not Damian Lee, he was a smart guy, but it was Chris Fouch and Sammy Givens. Good, really awesome guys. I think
Dude,
that's when I started loving basketball a lot.
there you go. We'll see what happens with those guys, right? The other end of the spectrum is, I mean, we all think the Heat moving forward. The Celtics. I mean, the Celtics, I was a little surprised. After game one, it just looked like the same kind of scenario, right? It looked like, all right, the Bucks are just in a different league. The Bucks are a better team. And I guess the Celtics had a game where just literally nothing missed. I mean, Grant Williams had a career day.
20.
So what's your take on that?
20 made threes. They shot 46% from three.
That's going to be tough for any to read you.
They shot 48% from the field, 46% from three, and 80% from free throws. Like 28 assists. It's that's a. I mean, you know what I mean? Some of those shots were good D. It's not like the Bucks played bad defense. So it's like sometimes you go, you know, hats off to you. You guys played a great game. But I'll go a different angle.
There it is.
So we're recording this on Thursday. This is going up Thursday night. There are no games tonight. And it's interesting. So the Celtics played on Tuesday. Their next game, Cage, is on Saturday. Almost 4 days off.
Wow. Why?
Really
Why are they giving them such a break?
I don't know, man. But there's no games on Thursday, and then tomorrow it's the Heat, Sixers, Suns, Mavs. So it's a really big gap, and I don't know who that favors. I think that favors defense because now when you're a little bit more rested, you're more hungry on defense, you're more active, you can get into a guarding position, you close out just a little bit better. But yeah, they played on Tuesday. I don't know why either. Tuesday, and then they're not playing tonight. They're playing again Saturday at 3:30.
So listen, audio is bad. It's my fault, guys. I apologize for that. But I will spend 2 minutes, if I can, talking about my post. So I made a post today that, you know, I had some really good comments too. My post is about price development on you know, sports that have not been being graded forever and you name it, and things that are, you know, low pop and the pop changes on it. And if you guys go back to our episode, I think it was March 12th, right? Back to our episode, before the last Lewis Hamilton Futera 2005 PSA 9 sold, I mean, when we were talking about it, it was like $40,000, right? We had no idea it was going to go for $312,000, right? But it was one of those cards, by the way.
I remember that episode well. When you gave you're like, everyone's buying the Lewis Hamilton play, you might as well go get his first card. I remember that episode super well.
Yeah, so I talked about that before it was even for auction. I talked about it like, you know, before, and then it got for auction golden as a PSA 9. But what I was talking about is I had previously had a similar experience in soccer. In soccer F1, these cards, Marvel, the PMGs, they're all kind of in the same category where, you know, people weren't collecting those things, right? They were these tennis cards. There's this weird segment that came in over the last couple of years with the popularity of the sports and with money coming in and people looking to, you know, move their baseball, basketball profits into something else. And, you know, what wound up happening was things are being graded for the first time. I told the story of my 58 Gazzetta, you know, the cut card where you can either have one with Carinthia and Pele together or just Pele himself. And I bought mine, it was a PSA 4. I bought it from Golden as a pop 1, none higher. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. I'll pay a premium for that, right? It's 1958. Chances are, you know, there's not a lot of these things sitting in somebody's basement or, you know, they're not going to be, you know, found, right? And it's being, you know, it's a pop 1. Sure, things change. Things change all the time, right? But a 65-year-old almost card, oh, maybe it shouldn't change that much. But literally the next week, the pop report was updated. After I paid a week after, one came out, it was a 4.5 or a 5, higher. So now mine's still a pop 1, but it's not high as graded, right? And it was selling in Golden literally the next week. I'm like, interesting stuff, right? Well, doesn't matter whether that card was selling in golden or not. It popped up in the pop report. It's a lot of fun. I don't know whether it's sold in golden or if it didn't. But this time around, so at that March 12th, I'm talking. I said, hey, guys, this just happened to me. You got to be careful in these segments of soccer. You got to be careful in the F1. You got to be careful in these segments because, things happen, right? When especially after a $312,000 sale, which we didn't know was going to happen, people are going to be beating the bushes to find these things, right? There's going to be fun stuff. And I made a prediction at the time it was going to sell for like $60,000 or $70,000. I knew it would sell for a lot, but that very soon thereafter, there would be another one that came up. I thought maybe the PSA 10. I still think that might happen. But here we are. That was March. It's now the first week of May, and there's another PSA 9. It's now Pop 2. And somebody paid $312,000. That might be a bargain because in April, one of his, the one of one sold for $900,000, right? So people are obviously spending some money on these F1 cards. The point is not to say that there's anything untoward. The point was not to say that there's any kind of scam or conspiracy theory or anything out there. The point was to say, be careful in these type of auctions, right? The newly developed asset class, the sports, the ones that people haven't graded for a long time, and all of a sudden, the Pop 1 PSA 9 is in a recent slab. Right, it's not even an old one. It's not even something somebody graded a long time ago. Wrestling cards is another one of these, right? Where UFC cards, like that. You'll notice that these things are starting to come out of the woodwork. And what I'm trying to get at, of course, here is just weigh that into your purchases. Now, Super Trout, I think, was the person who bought that card. You want to come on and talk about it? That's great. I'm sure he doesn't mind spending $312,000. He probably thinks it's a bargain, and that's great. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I use that as an example because it's a high-price example with a lot of eyeballs that were on it. Mine was only a $10,000 Pele card, but my $10,000 card as a Pop 1, nothing higher, is probably worth $5 now, maybe $4, a month and a half after I bought it. You know what I mean? Because now it's not the highest grade. Now, so I guess the point I'm trying to make is just be aware of what's out there. Don't assume that a Pop 1 is going to stay a Pop 1 or even a Pop 2 or a Pop 10, right? Especially a card like this 2005 Futera set. I don't know how many of them are made. They're not numbered. I don't know where they are. There might be somebody who's sitting there with 20 of them. And, for comparison's sake, guys, go take a look. Wherever you get your data from, if it's Card Ladder or Market Movers or anywhere, go take a look at what the pricing action looks like on the Michael Jordan Nike promo PSA 10, right? See what the pricing on that is. Man, people love that card. The big card, the postcard looking thing, right? Everybody loved that card. And it was really high for a while because the Pop wasn't there. And then the Pop just, even though it's a almost 40-year item, all of a sudden, the Pop just creeps up, and the price creeps down and creeps down. So that's the point. Shoot.
What would you say to someone if they said, well, when somebody saw the record-breaking sale of the first one, they checked their collection. They realized they had that card in a good condition, so they decided, I think, to fly into PSA and do a one-day walkthrough. Yep.
Well, what I say to them, great. I'm glad they did it, and I hope they make a ton of money doing it, right? And my post really, I think that might have been what happened here. Somebody from Australia had the card, and they came in, and they graded the card, and they did all that fun stuff. It's less to that person. The post is supposed to talk to the next person who's looking to buy one of these things, and understand. Look, you pay what you want, right? But
it's your money.
Chances are, there's the possibility, especially in these asset classes, that there's going to be that person. The point is, I have no problem with the person who came in and graded it. I have no problem that it was selling. The point is that back in March, I wanted to make sure that we were telling the person who was going to buy that card that this is a likelihood, not just a possibility, a likelihood. And it came to be 2 months later. And chances are there will be more. There was so that card sold for $312. The very next golden auction, there was an 8, and now there's a 9. So are there going to be one of these in every golden auction now? Or are they going to be all over the place? Are these going to be something that pops up? And is it going to be the same for soccer cards? Is it going to be the same for all of these other asset classes? Look at what happened with the Marvel PMGs. Like, just take a look at the chart on those things. They're selling for 90% less than where they were, because when they first were sold, they were sold as Pop 1, Pop 2, nothing higher. Then all of a sudden, people found them, graded them, and they weren't as rare as folks thought they were. And those were numbered cards. You know what I mean? So something like this, it's just preach a little bit of caution. And guys, let me just, just to balance that out, this is not just a soccer or F1 rant or anything like that. This can happen everywhere. If you listen to our collectible fractional reports on weekends, I've said the word black swamp find more times than Andrew has ever wanted to hear in his life. He can die a happy man never hearing black swamp ever again, right? But that's an example of it happening.
I'm going to name my next company Black Swamp.
The Black Swamp. So, but that's an
no
example
shortage
of it happening.
Of company names.
It happened in the vintage world. High-end, 100-year-old cards, found in an attic in mint condition, 9s and 10s. And it just destroys the value of these things, because the pop, where some of these cards are Pop 1, 2, whatever it is, now all of a sudden you got Pop 6 or Pop 8, and the people who bought them. So it's not just it's not just this, but the likelihood of something like that happening again 100 years later, as opposed to a more modern segment, a soccer card, an F1 card, that kind of stuff, it's a little more likely that that's going to happen now, especially when you layer in the fact that baseball cards have been collected for 150 years and soccer and motorsport cards just have not. So that's the point of it, guys. I just wanted to make sure, because we got some great comments. I love putting things out there, especially when it shows how right I was, because I like being right. It doesn't happen that often, but I like the commentary.
You're right, because you've experienced that.
Yeah, it happened to me. Exactly right. So we like to share our own experiences with people.
What I took when I read your post, because we don't always talk about everything that each other posts. Actually, most of the time we don't. It was, don't just look at today's pop. You look at today's pop, have a filter to understand what card this is. Is it a numbered card or a base card? Look at recent sales and realize, what will the pop look like in the future? And take that into consideration when you're buying.
Right.
What could it look like, and what the probability would look like?
Yep.
That's what I thought, because a Pop 1 today on a card that just hit a record sale in a new market might not be a Pop 1 in 12 months. It might be a Pop 7 in 12 months with 2 PSA 10s, 7 PSA 9s, and 44 PSA 8s.
100% accurate. 100% accurate. Look, especially F1 is right for it, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that recently one of the Sports Illustrated for kids, I think it's 09 was Hamilton. Remember, I gave that as a card also. Just another cool one was Hamilton. Like, the one we gave in card plays, right? I'm pretty sure like a BGS 9 or BGS 8.5 sold recently. I've seen a BGS 9. Somebody has it in their stories, and it's like, oh, this is the highest graded. Well, I think I saw a PSA 10 just get graded, and it's already up for sale. It's just the kind of thing that's going to happen. You know what I mean? So, and people want these cards. It's great. And, to some people, a Pop 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, it is what it is, right? I want to have that card. I'm not going to miss out on my opportunity, and that's great. It's really just information. When you're doing your analysis, just realize this is the kind of stuff that happens.
So card porn has taken a liking to us. And to us, probably more than likely Cage than myself. And he listens to the show, and I appreciate and respect it. And I think he's done a great job with his page. One thing I want to say, and I'm all make fun of me, call me a slob, call me out when I'm wrong, but none of the influencers paid to advertise Collectible have made any sort of announcement, so we'll do it for them. When things are so blatantly lies, I get a little bit upset. We talked about that card on 3 separate occasions in the last 5 days. And not only did we talk about that card, we talked about the exact fact that you omitted, that the card that was bought on Old Golden for $312, the buyer of that card wasn't the one that sold it to Collectible. It actually made another transaction in the private market. And we literally discussed that. So call us out, call anybody out, but make sure that your call outs are rooted in truth and not fiction, which you want to seem and sound like truth.
So, I mean, I think the only, I'm not card porn, but if I were, what I would say is I think the only thing they're saying there is that, while we might have talked about it, nobody covered the fact that it got pulled. And I think they're viewing the fact that it's no longer up for sale as like a statement from Collectible that it's, their valuation was wrong. And that none of the influencers, including us, came out and said, well, there you go. Obviously, that valuation was wrong, and Collectible is wrong. If we're going to go nuanced and we're going to go splitting hairs, they're right. I mean, we didn't do that, but I mean, it's not like we even knew. We didn't get a message. Oh, as of 12 o'clock, this is getting pulled. So I guess after we talked about it 3 times. We could have followed the app and seen when it filled. I can apologize to folks for that and explain why I don't know. I don't even have a Collectible account. I want to be able to talk about these things, and be beyond reproach, right? I don't own anything.
Look at the data that they send us.
I don't buy any of it. Yeah, they send us data, and I talk about it on a weekend episode. That is, and then I look at what's available, but I don't have an account. I don't buy that stuff. I don't own the stuff, so I don't have like early app access or any of those, things. So that's part of the reason why I wouldn't talk about it. But that said, let's get to the to the nuts and bolts of it. People are saying, Collectibles shouldn't decide what a value of an item is. The market should, the public should. I think that's what they did. I think that's what putting it in early access in an app is, right? You put it out there, and if the public says we're not buying this at that value, well, then so be it. It doesn't have that value, and it doesn't get sold. And there's no liquidity event or sale or anything for the person who owns the card. And the market then has spoken. The people have spoken. So, yeah, I mean, I view it as an interesting way of trying to get to what the real market value is. I understand Card Point's post. And, I mean, think about it. I think their fear is, if you read their story, their fear is they don't want people seeing these high-end items that get, they get talked about, they get press, and then somebody gets screwed. It gets dropped on someone, and then it brings people in, and then those people who get screwed, they exit, right? They exit the hobby, right? But there's a lot of things that could possibly do that, like record sales for a soccer card, because it's a Pop 1 that doesn't stay a Pop 1. Like, I mean, you want to talk about coincidences. How is it possible that the last Pele mint Alafabalo J Labella sold for exactly $900,000, and the Lewis Hamilton one sold for exactly $900,000? Weird. Maybe it's an episode of X-Files. I don't know. Is it weird that a Jackie Robinson? Is it weird that a Jackie Robinson 1955 bat, 55 World Series game used 7 sold in the last Golden auction for an absurd $432,000 price tag? Absurd, right? A huge multiple for any Jackie Robinson bat ever, and for a game used 7 especially, right? And you can't exactly attribute it to the 55 season. Could be 55, could be 56. Don't know exactly if it was World Series. That auction was weird, because at the end of closing on that auction, I was the high bidder on that. Right, I was a high bidder on that, and I didn't win, and I didn't bid an extra, but I watched it close an extra at $120,000, and saw it say finalized, sale will be finalized in a second. I saw that because I was refreshing every 30 seconds. I actually saw it end at 120 plus buyer's premium, which would be in line with what a bat like that should sell for. And then all of a sudden, the bids just kept going, and it went to $432,000. And then I see the next auction, there's another 1955 Jackie Robinson bat. This one's a 9.5, and the bidding starts at 250.
You can't let the 7 close at 120 if you want the 9.5 over a bill.
If you want the 9.5 to start at 250, yeah, you can't have 120 sale of the same year, same type of. Obviously, the 9.5 is better, but if you want to look for headlines, you don't have to look that far in the hobby.
The card porn cabal. They can't shed light on that. Come on now, they wouldn't be ripping Flawless with Drake then.
And P.S. guys, we are sponsored by PWCC, but I will tell you this. On March 12th, when I made my prediction about that card, we were not. That's a new sponsorship. I made the prediction about that Lewis Hamilton. We were not sponsored by anybody. But I do want to make sure that's out there. Yes, we do have a sponsorship agreement with PWCC. And if PWCC does anything, I'll call them out too. Because that's what we're here for. So.
Boom. Roasted.
Boom. Roasted.
Love you, Luka Nation. We'll be back tomorrow. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luka Nation.